who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they can send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck. No. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. The man makes you know he can't fucking breathe. The man makes you know We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck. No. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. If it's Thursday, first off, fuck your bitch and the click you claim. West Side, when we ride, come equipped with game. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. I, of course, am your host with the most, the meter. The meter does many things if you're nasty. We are here to get into all things MMA, but before we get into all of the fun and fuckery, first and foremost, gentlemen, how you doing over there?
We're here. It's fucking Thursday. And we're here.
Check and check. Absolutely, no notes.
Looking forward to the weekend. And we get to talk some shit on some fights.
Hell yeah, there are definitely some fights. So, to kick things off the way that we like to around here, we're going to get into a little bit of news and recent events, fight announcements, fight cancellations, official rumors or denials, all the interesting things that have trickled out the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. This time around, which we actually haven't had to do in a while, we actually start out by tying back to something that happened last weekend, because something happened that we haven't seen in a damn long time. we did not get any performance of the night bonuses from Vegas 108. Instead, we got 2 fight of the night bonuses. Duncan versus Rebecca, wrong one, sorry. Duncan versus Rebecca got fight of the night, and it was a fucking war, so I agree with that. And then Ribovic versus Brenner was the other one, and that was an absolute bloody fucking war. Both fights absolutely deserved fight of the night. I absolutely fucking agree with that move. We don't see the UFC do that very often, but this is one of those rare circumstances. They actually did it right. So much as I love to bang on the UFC, I also like to give them credit when they do something correct, as rare as that might be. That being said, we do have a couple of interesting fight announcements and cancellations both here for the UFC. The first one is actually for this weekend for the card we're getting ready to talk about. On Tuesday, we got official confirmation that Cody Brundage would be making his light heavyweight debut against Eric Makovko. Not terribly familiar with that gentleman. Cody Brundage typically fights at middleweight. This will be his first time fighting at 205. So kind of makes you wonder if he was just cutting a ton of weight to get to middleweight, or if he has done some bulking up and is legitimately trying to just move divisions here. Be interesting to find out either way. Excuse me. Next one we've got here. As of this afternoon, it is official. Raquel Pennington is out of her fight for UFC Noche versus Norma Dumont. No word yet if the UFC is going to try and find a replacement to keep Dumont on the card or potentially rebook the fight at a later date. We will find that out in the next few days to weeks, I'm sure. Couple of interesting couple of interesting fights, ladies' fights to be particular, added to the UFC 320 card going down October 4th. The first one, Veronica Hardy finally getting back into the cage, taking on Brogan Walker, which very much feels like a loser gets walking papers kind of fight. But on a slightly more relevant note, Yana Santos is getting back into the cage, and she is fighting Macy Chazon. That feels like a whole big old bite, way too much to chew for her. Macy clearly is not cut out to be number one, but she is absolutely top 5. Santos is not even close to top 5. I imagine Macy is going to run her the fuck over. So we'll see how that one plays out. The last one that I have got here, UFC Rio going down October 11th, got its official co-main event added to it this week. None other than Charles Oliveira, Chucky Olives himself, will be stepping in to take on Rafael Fiziev. That fight could be absolutely fucking crazy. They both have great fucking groundwork. They both have great striking. They're both fucking Energizer bunnies when they need to be. Those two could make a very interesting matchup. So we will see how that one plays out as we get a little closer to fall. But that is all I have got for news this week. Either one of you gentlemen have anything that I might have missed over there?
Ben Askren was in the hospital again this week, just as an FYI to people.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Thought he was having some sort of fucking issues with transplant and possible infection. So he's back at her again. I don't know if he's out or not because I haven't paid that close attention to the news. Because to be honest, I stay off social media a lot.
Yeah, I saw that he had went back in. I hadn't seen if he'd come back out or if they'd given any kind of official, like, here's what's going on or here's what the deal is. Just that he was back in there and he was talking about how he probably pushed too fucking hard when he should have been resting and recovering. But that's, that's him.
Well, you can take the wrestler out of the grind, but you can't take the grind out of the wrestler. That's
Right.
how that works.
The first fucking video he posts is throwing a 5-pound fucking weight that you can see is clearly straining for him, and he's trying to talk while he's doing it to show that he can keep going. And it's like, dude,
And then on
fucking
the fucking,
relax.
what was he on the Dyna bike too?
Yeah, with the fucking hi-ya and like bang.
I'm not mad at him. You want to get better. I get it. You got to
Right.
push, but there is a point where you got to not push.
You got to pace yourself. You got 2 brand new fucking lungs that have not completely healed yet, my man. You got to slow the fuck down a little bit.
That's it. More power to
Yeah.
him, though.
Yeah, hey, fucking get after it, dude. He ain't gonna let nothing fucking slow him down, but he's got to learn a little bit to slow the fuck down, or he's gonna be in a bad circle. That's very interesting, very good stuff, though. Uh, that being said, if you've been watching combat sports as long as some of us have been watching combat sports, you generally learn, what you like to watch, when it comes on, and how you're going to go about watching it. And after so long of doing that, you start to develop a set of metaphorical blinders. You start to lose the rest of the punchy kicky forest for the trees, as it were. Luckily for us here on the show, we've got ourselves a bona fide young person out there ever so diligently and ever so delicately fingering the pulse of the MMA world to help keep us abreast of all the names that are going to be names before they are names in a segment that we call Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
Appreciate you, brother. No, like always, got to start with trash. Get that shit out the way. There's a decent little bit of it this weekend. It's an Apex card. It's another one that's not the greatest in the world, but we had some fun fights last weekend. Hopefully, this one does the same for us. And we get some fun finishes on here. All the shit, though, you got to throw away. Cashware and Edwards fight as a whole. I mean, that division as a whole, really, the bantamweight division is pretty rough at this point. It's not likely that we're ever going to get too many exciting fights. I mean, even that Raquel Pennington and Norma Dumont fight wasn't anything to be excited about. Now that we've lost that, they literally don't have anything worth a damn going on in that division. You throw that one away. Throw Andre Feely and Eric Anders in the fucking garbage. Both of those dudes, old as shit, should call it quits at this point. If the UFC doesn't come out on their own, I think Cerqueira is going to get the walking papers this weekend. He's going to get his ass knocked out. It's 0-3 in the UFC after Julius Walker gets through with him. Julia Stoliarenko, and I mean, I'll give Angela Hill her flowers for this weekend, but I've said it for years. Angela Hill is a can. I don't know why she's been able to stick around in the UFC. She's always had a back and forth career. I mean, the personal problems of the cringy voice and things like that, but I did have newfound respect for her actually finding out ahead of this fight because they were getting her custom shorts, then finding out the backstory. She's actually like the granddaughter of Betty and Barney Hill. So, I mean, they were civil rights activists, abducted by aliens and shit like that. So that's why there's the black power fists and then the aliens on her custom shorts. It was literally just to represent her grandparents and their story and shit. That was cool. And then, even if she sucks, you give her the respect where it's due that she's always laced him up, gotten in an octagon half naked with another grown ass woman trying to beat the shit out of her. This will be the 25th fucking time she's done that. So you respect it there. 40 years old, she's still getting in there. But I would think it's time to call it. But we'll see. Um, I don't. This is just a personal thing. It is a personal vendetta I've had for years. Throw Angela Hill in the fucking garbage. I mean, contenders this weekend. I got Roman Dolidze. He could bounce back. I feel like he's kind of on the fence at this point. He had that nice winning streak and then has been really rocky and bounced up to light heavyweight to fight Anthony Smith and he's come back down. He's just looked rough, He fought Marvin Vittori earlier this year. He didn't look great in that fucking fight, even though he got the win. I think he's going to get his ass whooped this weekend, no matter what preparation he's done ahead of time. Christian Rodriguez is another one. I think he can bounce back. He's still young. But, I mean, is he really capable to hang with top contenders, or is he just that kind of guy that beats young kids coming in the UFC? So they're on the fences. Contenders, I'm really looking forward to this weekend. I like Steve Erceg, obviously, even if he's on a 3 fight losing streak, I still think he can bounce back. And this is a good bounce back fight for him against Ode Osborne. Julius Walker, the juice box himself, always going to root for the Missouri boys. He looked good. I mean, on short ass notice against Alonzo Minifield, losing that split decision, it was the worst thing was his gas tank, and he couldn't finish the takedowns. But with time here and a true training camp, we're hoping to see him really go out there, have a good performance. He's 26 years old, and he's won every fight by finish. So we're looking forward to see how he looks in the second go, and think he's still got a good future ahead of him. Same thing with Yasmin Lucindo. I think that young lady can bounce back. She's got a good future ahead of her. She's 23 fucking years old. Just because she lost a split decision to Amanda Lemos doesn't mean much, at least right now. I mean, she's been in a lot of exciting fights and still think she's got a good future ahead of her. You got Fluffy in the main event, and I feel like he continues to rack them up. He's on a 7 fight winning streak already, 5 of them by finish. He keep on going. It's going to be undeniable. I mean, there's a lot of guys up there right now, technically, with Imavov and Barajo and Rainier de Ritter, and he's got to get through some shit. But I think Fluffy is eventually going to get there. And then the last one for me, the young kid, 22-year-old Eli Smith. Another one I think's got a bright, bright future. He's still pretty green, but I mean, this weekend he's going to look good. Toshiami Kazama, 28 years old. He's young himself, but he's 1-2 in the UFC already. You just look at the kid's frame and figure compared to Eli. It's just, I feel like he's going to get manhandled. Elijah's just going to be picking this kid up, throwing him around like a sack of motherfucking potatoes. Um, Eli's also really well rounded. I think he's got the wrestling, and you will see if the jujitsu has been worked on, comes along. Never really seen that ground game because he's a pretty good striker. He's got a handful of knockouts in the career so far. There's some young kids to keep an eye out for this weekend for sure. That's the excitement on the card. Wish there was a fucking crowd. That's the thing I hate the most about the Apex. It automatically just throws it into hangover vibes, no matter how many amazing fights they could ever throw on one of these cards. Now that we've been out of COVID for years, it's just ridiculous that they still do this. We all know they're just a company doing shit like this, saving the money. But there's some guys I'm looking forward to. I'd like to hear what you boys got for this weekend, though.
Well, I'll put it this way. This is a hangover to hangover to hangovers to me. It's one of those cards where, yeah, there's something to watch, but is it worth watching? Or if you're watching, do I really need to pay all that much attention? Well, start it out. Look, right off the get-go. Cody Brundage can go right in the fucking cans. He's in the dented can bin. The dude has never shown anything that makes me think that he would ever break into the top 15. He got lucky to get here. To be honest, I think he stole somebody else's spot at the train station, forged a signature, and bam, here we are. But that is what it is. Now, with that being said, the follow-up fight to that, Gabriela Fernandez, Julia Stolyarenko. Another trash can fight. Stolyarenko has not looked good at all since she's been in the UFC. Absolute can. Fernandez, I feel, is right in that same category. We're look, as much as I want the women's fucking divisions to succeed, the people that they're signing and actively trying to get for the women's divisions are not good. There's not been very many in recent memory that I can go, oh, these have been fantastic pickups. There's plenty of them that have been free agents that would have been much better pickups than what we have going on currently. So as a whole, damn near every women's fight on this card is fucking full of cans. I mean, let's just skip ahead a little bit. Jocelyn Edwards, Priscilla Cachoeira, or Cachoeira, excuse me. Still, both cans. I've never been a fan of Jocelyn Edwards. How she managed to get into the rankings tells you how weak the women's fucking bantamweight division really is. Euros Medic, Gilbert Urbina. Urbina's been an absolute can since he's got here, even though he was supposed to be the savior of the Urbina clan. That just hasn't fucking happened. Eros, he's just another fucking Eastern Bloc European guy that they think, oh, just because he's Eastern Bloc European, maybe, he'll do something. But it hasn't happened. Oh, the Elijah Smith Toshi Kazama fight, there is something to be said about that. I will give that can tender status as a fight. Purely because it all basically boils down to where Elijah Smith ends up going with this. If he can't take out Toshioma or Toshiomi, Jesus Christ, can't fucking speak. If he can't take him out, that tells you where Elijah Smith's career is headed. Toshioma or Kazama's been here for 3 fights now in the UFC. He's at a shitter get off the pot moment. When you're a young fighter like that, you usually only got a 3-4 fight contract. If you don't do something spectacular here, he'll probably end up getting cut. Which is terrible because there are plenty of people who've been around long enough that they should be fucking cut already. All right, look, I know you're hot on the Kansas boys, and I'm on the Missouri boys, excuse me. I'm all for you, rooting for the hometown guys. I don't see it in Julius Walker. I just don't. I also don't see it in his opponent either, Rafael. Look, another light heavyweight fucking walrus slap fight is what that ends up being to me. But it's a premier prelim because, there's a possibility because they're bigger boys, somebody might take a fucking nap. Now, speaking of boring ass fights, Eric Anders and Christopher Leroy Duncan. This says contract requirements. We're required to offer you fights. Another set of cans. Neither one of them are worth the fucking damn to me. Eric Anders might be your boy, but he needs to get his self cut and go be somebody else's boy because I don't want him anymore. The UFC can fucking just nix that one. Christian Leroy Duncan, he's look. I'm all for bringing fucking international fighters. Give me some fucking things, but anytime that he gets anybody with a partial name that he has to fight, he folds like a cheap lawn chair. Sure, he can beat off the cans, but look, I it's just not he doesn't have he can't string them together is what I'm trying to say. He can't manage to string wins together. He's hot and cold. He won his last one out. He's guaranteed to lose to Eric Anders, which is unfortunate because Eric Anders is one of those guys who needs to get walking papers. And now, you don't have to like the guy or not. Miles Johns, in my opinion, is still allergic to fucking boring fights. He might not be the best out there, but he will go out on his shield, which that's commendable, especially considering, I mean, there's not a lot of fighters that are still willing to do that, and well, Matsumoto's looked all right, minus his last little outing against Rob Font. However, he was fighting Rob Font. There's different levels to the game. John Matsumoto isn't there yet. Andre Fili can go straight to the fucking cans. So can Christian Rodriguez. Fuck them both. Fuck both of them at featherweight. Neither one of them are worth the goddamn. I have not liked Andre Touchy-Feely for the entirety of it's from the second he signed into the UFC. He's that dude where I shake my head and I go, why? Why is he still here? I think he's been knocked out more times than he's fucking won at this point. And yet he still is like a fucking, for some odd reason, like a goddamn golden boy. They just keep bringing him back. Bring him back. It's like a fucking undead with somebody in the back. Just reanimate him. Oh, he's knocked out. Reanimate him. Bring him back. Knocked out. Reanimate him. Bring him back. Andre Fili is absolute garbage, dumpster fire. And to be honest, I wouldn't be sad to see that fight get scrapped as a whole on the day of weigh-ins because somebody trips over a cord and breaks their fucking leg. I don't care which one does it, but somebody needs to fucking do it just to save us the heartache of having to watch that shit. Moving on. The company woman herself, Angela Hill. The only reason she is here still is they think she is the Cowboy Cerrone of the women's division. The unfortunate part is she's not as good as Cowboy Cerrone was even at Cowboy Cerrone's worst. She needs to fucking retire. Look, to her credit, she's been around a long time. She'll always take a fight on short notice. And to be fair, she's not the most boring women's fighter out there. But she's definitely not exciting, and I really cannot say this enough. She should not be fucking ranked. Again, another reason showing why the women's divisions are so fucking terrible right now. When someone like Angela Hill, who's on, what's the best way to put this? She's like a fucking Catholic. She's gonna go and fuck up all goddamn week long, come in one time and do good. Oh, everything's absolved. We'll keep you on the fucking roster. That's Angela fucking Hill for you right now. Hesman Lucindo, she still has a lot of fucking promise to me. Do I think she's ever going to win a title at strawweight? No, but she'll come fucking close. I think she'll definitely break into the top 5, maybe even get a chance at the title, but I don't think she's going to win it. However, she's still young in her career. My mind could change on that. But definitely, Desmond has a lot to lose here because if she loses to Angela Hill some freaky Friday, how it's going to be really bad for her career, and she's really going to struggle to bring herself back up to the top. And fight gods or whatever it is, fight overlords, whatever they may be, please somebody sell yourself to the fucking devil so that way Angela Hill loses, gets walking papers, or just lays down the gloves. Look, I'm all right if she loses in a close fashion and decides, you know what, maybe this isn't for me anymore. Fine, at that point, tip the cap. Thank you for being the company woman and just taking fights on short notice to save a lot. Because she saved a lot of fights, to her credit. Like, credit where credit is due. But she doesn't need to be here anymore. She can go home. Like the bus has left the station. She better run to start catching up to it so she can catch it before the next stop. That's all I'm saying. Co-main event, Ode Osborne, I still think is a can. I think he's always been a can. The unfortunate part here is I have to give contender to Steve Erceg. While he took a lightning ride to the top, we have to start rethinking about the way we think of him. Because he's lost 3 fights in a row. One to the current champion, Pantoja. He got knocked out by Kai France in the first fucking round. Then he loses the decision to Brandon Moreno. Look, to be fair, those are some of the best fighters in the bantamweight division currently. But if you can't keep up with them and win one of those 3 fights, maybe we need to start rethinking about where he is. I think he might be a top 10 fighter. I like Steve Erceg. The dude's just a humble, down-to-earth dude, but I don't know that he's top 5 right now anymore. I think maybe top 10 at best. I still hope he gets there, because to be honest, he legitimately had a fucking shot of beating Pantoja. He's the only one who has looked like they had a shot of beating Pantoja. Made some poor fight IQ decisions. And that's just because he's fucking young. Right now, I say he's a top 10 fighter. Unfortunately, he don't got a number by his name, but I do believe he's top 10 worthy. But you lose a back-to-back-to-back fights, they immediately boot your ass from the fucking rankings. It's just, unless you're like Angela Hill, then you can still stay in the fucking rankings somehow. But that doesn't make sense because it's a weak division. Ode Osborne, never going to be there. I hope Steve Erceg dog walks that motherfucker through the park. And then rides off into the sunset, back to Australia, catch another fight before the end of the fucking year, maybe December timeframe. That would be ideal for me, at least for him. Now, as a fight, can't say it's a contender fight. Can't say it's a can-tender fight. It's not a can fight. It's just a fight with somebody who's a can and somebody who I think is a can-tender at this point. Just because if Steve Erceg loses this, he was just a flash-in-the-pan fighter. And that's okay. Still like the guy, but he might just be a flash-in-the-pan fighter. We'll find out when he fights fucking Ode Osborne on Saturday. Why are they feeding us shit for main events? Look, I get it. When you have a fight every goddamn week, you can't guarantee a decent main event. I get that. But you're feeding us crap. Look, Roman Dolidze at one point in his career looked like he had a lot of potential. I think that potential has left. I'm not saying he's bad, but I don't think he's top 10 anymore. I think he's top 15, maybe gatekeeper at best. Anthony Hernandez, he's finally, I'll say, come into his fucking own. Because if we go back like 5, 6 years ago when he came into the UFC, or it might have even been longer than that, because I think his last loss was to Kevin Holland, if I remember correctly, back in like 2020 or something like that. I don't remember exactly. But he's finally coming into his own, figured out the fucking fight game. And at middleweight, his IQ has gotten better. And he's what, 5, 6, 7 fight win streak at this point? He's getting pretty fucking undeniable to say, hey, crack into that top 10, get him a top 5 opponent. He's showing he can do it. I think this might be that point where we have the changing of the guards at that 9 and 10 spot here, which will be fucking fantastic. To be honest, I think that Anthony Hernandez as a whole is the contender in this. Roman Dolidze is the contender. And I say contender because if he wins, unfortunately, the can stays there. but he'll never contend for a belt. I think Anthony Hernandez right now has, with all the momentum he has, if he gets a solid, decisive win here, he could throw himself in the mix of, hey, who I need to fight at middleweight to possibly get into that title shot picture. Granted, right now, that division's a little fucking tight up at the top, which is really good because we finally have one division where we can go, look at that shit. This is going to be fun to watch because we don't know what's going to happen there. But I think I think it's going to be tough for him. So he's got to come out and put an absolute fucking clinic on Roman Dolidze in order to get that. Dolidze has to fight off surging Anthony Hernandez in order to stay at I'll say the middle of the pack area, because I still think he's a middle of the pack fighter myself. So, as a whole, the card isn't terrible, but it's definitely not good. Well, we'll see moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. This isn't a terrible card by any stretch of the imagination, but it's far from a good card. It's a better of the Apex cards that we've been getting for damn sure. But I've got to say, overall, aside from deciding to have 6 fights on the fucking main card, I actually don't mind the layout and the placement of this card in itself. Cody Brundage moving to light heavyweight is a fucking freak show. There is no way to know if this is going to be worth a shit or a boring 15 minutes to start the fucking card. So I agree. Put that shit right up front, because if it's exciting, it gets everybody exciting for a potentially boring chicks fight to keep the momentum going. If it's boring, you know what kind of night we're in for right out of the fucking gate. So I appreciate that right out the gate, cutting the fucking curtain. Just let's find out. Fernandez and Stolyarenko is going to fucking suck. There's virtually no way that fucking fight gets to be any kind of exciting. The medic had so much fucking potential and so much hype when he first got into the UFC, man. I thought Euros was going to come in and just take this fucking division by storm and be that motherfucker. And goddamn was I wrong. I mean, I still love Euros Medic. The doctor is a bad motherfucker, but in terms of the fight game, him and Gilbert Urbina just feels like picking up dented peas and dented carrots and doing one of these numbers in front of a fucking camera. And I don't see a real reason for it. They both deserve their walking papers at this point. The Urbina name is cursed. Unfortunately, I would have loved to see Gilbert been the one to redeem the name for the fucking family, but it isn't going to fucking happen. And at this point, it's only going to get worse. I don't think it's going to get better. So let them both go. Just let them be on their goddamn way at this point. We literally, all 3 of us personally saw how fucking horrible Jocelyn Edwards was in Kansas City a few years ago. She has not improved whatso fucking ever since then. How she is still on the roster, let alone a fucking ranked fighter, just breaks my feeble little fucking mind somehow. How Cachoeira is still on the UFC roster after she's been caught cheating in what, 4 fucking fights now at this point? Like, the division is not that fucking thin. There are more women at 35 than probably any other fucking division in the UFC. Not that they have a lot to, offer, but 35 probably has more women in it than 25 and 15 together. How the fuck Jocelyn Edwards is ranked breaks my fucking brain. I will say though, I think Toshiomi Kazama has more potential than he's shown at this point. I know it has not been the prettiest of roads he has walked on the UFC so far, but they also haven't really given him a lot of leeway. They kind of tossed him. They didn't throw him to the Sharks, but they threw him in a fucking Barracuda pit for goddamn sure. They didn't give him a fucking easy path when he got here. Elijah Smith is just on fucking fire right now. The kid is fucking hot. He still has some rough fucking corners for sure, but for a young kid making his way through the UFC, this could be a real interesting match in my opinion. I don't think this one leans particularly too heavy in either direction, and I'm kind of curious to see how this one plays out. This is one of the dark horse fights on this card in my opinion. I will wave that fucking Juicebox Walker flag until the UFC cuts that motherfucker, and then he will come back to Synergy, and he will come back, and I can see him here, and I'll wave that flag in person again, because I don't know if he's going to be able to make it if he doesn't take this shit seriously. I like Julius Walker. I was so fucking excited when he got signed to the UFC, even on 4 days' notice, and then still held his own fairly fucking well. He showed, short notice symptoms, as it were, when the gas tank started running out and he couldn't finish his fucking takedowns, and they both really looked fucking bad come to the end of that fight. But 4 days' notice does play a factor. I get that. We are hoping against fucking hope here that Juicebox took this full camp time to actually take this fight seriously and make sure he was fucking as prepared as he could possibly be. Because if he did, he should be able to come in and steamroll Cerqueira. Easily. This motherfucker has dents on dents on dents in the fucking can bin. Walker should be able to come in and just beat the shit out of him if he is taking this camp seriously. And I really, really, really hope with my dark little fucking heart that he has, because that's what I want to fucking see Saturday night. I don't know if we're going to, but I hope. I will not go as far to shit on CLD as you guys have. I don't think he is ever going to see a title. I don't know if he will ever see a top 15 ranking next to his name, but I don't think he is quite as terrible as some folks seem to think he is. I'm not saying he's a world breaker, but I'm not saying he's a full fucking journeyman that should be on a 12-12 contender series contract either. He's not quite that fucking bad. Given the opportunity to be Jaboy, he could actually start to put some things moving in the right direction here. The guy's only 11-2. He doesn't have a bad record. He just has had some real rough showings. I think he's another one very much like Juicebox. If he takes this camp seriously and he comes in here prepared, CLD has shown us some glimpses of potential. We've seen some potential flashes of greatness. If he took this shit seriously, just like I'm hoping that Walker did, he could easily come in here and fuck Eric Anders up and take all the fucking momentum and start moving in the right fucking direction. It's a big if, but it's possible in my opinion. He could do it. I don't think this fight needs to be on the fucking main card. This is the one that I think they should have put in the fucking prelims and then had a nice clean 5-fight main card. It would have made the show flow a lot nicer, but whatever. UFC gonna UFC. El fucking Chapo. I get that it is not a popular opinion to be a Miles John fan, and I give $0 because like TJ said, that dude is allergic to boring fights. He breaks out fucking punches, and it is always entertaining, win, lose, or draw when that man steps in the cage. Gene Matsumoto is an interesting little puzzle here. I'm not saying he's going to get run over, but if he comes in trying to do some of the flashy shit he has done in some of his previous fights, El Chapo is going to walk that fucking ass. I'm telling you right now. On the other hand, Miles Johns has got a lot of highway miles on those tires as well. I'm a big fucking fan, but he's also got a lot of highway miles on those fucking tires as well. If Matsumoto comes in on his fucking A game, this could as well be a very, very interesting fight on this card, in my opinion. I'm here for it. I'm fucking here for it. I think this one absolutely belongs on the main card. I wish I could say something nice about Andre Fili. I really do. He's got a couple of nice tattoos. I think he has more good tattoos than he does good fights in the UFC. It really, to me, kind of feels like they are throwing him to the wood chipper here because, like was mentioned in the chat just a little bit ago, C-Rod is a fucking hype taker, man. Like, everybody that they thought was going to be somebody, they threw against Christian Rodriguez, and he has just done the goddamn thing. He hasn't been the most spectacular, the most, glitzy and glamorous, most exciting fucking fighter in the world, but when they need something fucking done, and they put Christian Rodriguez in there, shit gets done. I kind of feel like he's here to take Andre Fili's fucking soul and send him on to the next fucking realm so we can all just be done with it at this point. I'm here for it if that's how it goes down. Fili has always, to his credit, got a puncher's chance because that dude has a weird fucking style and he's got some odd fucking moves that he's pulled off before. He definitely always has a weird fucking chance in it, but He's just really fucking hard to root for, in my opinion, man. He really is. I think C-Rod's going to do the goddamn thing. I think C-Rod's going to come Shang Tsung that motherfucker, take his soul, and just be done with this shit. Black fingers crossed. Hope, hope, hope. Yasmin Lucindo hurts my heart. She's got so much goddamn potential. And then you see her social media, and it's like, I don't know if her head's going to be able to fit through the fucking Apex doors to walk out to the Octagon this weekend. I like her, but goddamn, is she smelling what she's selling and getting high off her own supply right now? Like, she's drinking the Yasmin Kool-Aid by the gallon right now, and it's a little hard to watch. I've been a fan since before she got to the UFC. I've been waving that Yasmin Lucindo flag with two fucking hands like a high school cheerleader. But man, she makes it difficult sometimes when you see her social media and how fucking big her ego is. I hope she leaves that outside the cage, because Angela Hill, as boring and as fucking unlikable as she is, has a goddamn gas tank. Like, that girl is made of tough stuff. Whether you like her or not, she might be the Black Fran Drescher. I can't say, but that girl has got an Energizer battery in her fucking back, man. When it's time to go, she's gonna go, and she can go a hard 25. She's shown it several times. It might not be the most exciting, but she's also not gonna stall out in the middle of round 2 because she's got nothing left. She's usually got the gas tank to run and at least make it competitive, even in a full-length fucking fight. Yasmin has shown she's got some room to improve in a few areas, I will say. If she has actually been working on it, this could be a very interesting fight. And if she pulls it off, this could be a very lucrative fight for her in terms of a career, because Angela Hill is a household name. Like they've said, she is trying to be the female Cowboy Cerrone in the UFC. Most casuals will recognize Angela Hill's name, not because she was ever in a championship, but because she fights so goddamn often. It's one of the names that people start to recognize. If Lucindo can pull this off and takes this shit seriously, seems to be the fucking running theme in a lot of these fights, she could do some good work here. But like TJ mentioned, if she loses to Angela Hill, ooh, is that a hard fucking hurdle to ever overcome again in terms of a UFC career. I'm not saying it can't be done, but man, does that raise that fucking bar up a couple extra clicks that you didn't fucking need it to be, for damn sure. Steve Ursig. What a complicated little fucking situation that man has gotten himself into, is it not? On one hand, yes, he is absolutely on a 3-fight losing streak, and they were all fairly tough losses in one way or another. But on the other hand, those 3 losses are to 3 championship or former championship level fucking fighters in this division, thrown up to that level clearly way before he was ready to. And with the exception of KKF laying him flat, has held his own fairly goddamn well with all of them. I don't know that he is ever going to get himself back into a title fight, but I also don't think that he's just one of those dudes that had a flash in the pan moment. I think he got jumped up the line a little too fast, a little too early, had to take a couple of goose eggs and learn a little bit on the way back down the ladder. But I think at this point, he might have his grasp back and be ready to at least hold himself in place, if not start making some fucking forward progress going back up. I love O'Day Osborne. That dude's fun as shit. He very much is another allergic to boring fights kind of dude. He breaks out in fucking punches and tries to do whatever he fucking can to make sure every match that he is in is exciting. But man, he really just hasn't shown any spectacular, any standout areas in too long at this point. The man's 13-8. You're fighting to try and keep yourself away from 500, and that's never good motivation. It should never be your motivation. At this point, I really think if Ursig gets him good, this could be the last time we see O'Day in UFC gloves. And as much as that sucks, I think it's kind of justified as well. Here's where we go over the top. Because in my opinion, Anthony Hernandez is just the middleweight Andre Fili. They both have lots of shitty tattoos. They both have lots of hype that they do not fucking deserve. Granted, credit where credit is due. Both of them have had some very nice wins. And I give zero fucks about any of them. To his credit, Fluffy is more exciting to watch than Touchy-Feely is. But in terms of competition, it's just not been that impressive to me. He's pulling a John Jones here. Yes, he's getting some big names, but he's getting them on the fucking way out. He hasn't done this big shit to anybody worth a shit in their prime yet. He's caught some young dudes who don't know what the fuck they're doing. He's caught some old dudes who should have fucking hung him up by now, but he just hasn't done what he needs to do to anybody at that level that's fucking relevant right now to make him undeniable. Yes, 7 fights in a row. Golf clap, my man. Well done. That is not anything to sneeze at. I am not trying to take that away in any stretch of the imagination. But God damn it, blow me if I could give you any one of those fucking 7 that stand out in my mind right now. Not a fucking one. Not a fucking one. Meanwhile, Mr. Steal Your Girl over here, Roman Dolidze, is one of the dark horses in this goddamn division. He doesn't fight often enough for us to remember his fights. Fluffy puts on interesting fights all the fucking time, but just not at high fucking level. Dolidze, almost always high level fights once a year if we're fucking lucky. I'm not saying Fluffy is a can. What I'm saying is people are way too fucking hard sleeping on Roman Dolidze because he doesn't show up often enough for us to remember the great shit that he does. Mr. Steal Your Girl is coming to steal some hype this weekend. Fluffy is talking all kinds of madness, already calling out RDR, talking about BMF belts in the middleweight. Motherfucker, you got a giant lunatic standing in front of you trying to go through your fucking skull Saturday. Don't worry about RDR. Worry about Roman fucking Dolidze, the big crazy fuck with giant hands trying to put him through your fucking nose this weekend, my dude. Fluffy's interesting. I will absolutely say Fluffy is interesting. But man, Dolidze is overly fucking slept on. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this weekend.
Appreciate you boys trying to help break this card down the best that we can. Just some shining lights, in my opinion, but it's mostly shade.
Thank you very much, sir. Always appreciate your segment here. Now, that'll bring us to the only segment in our show that actually requires its own individual disclaimer. So, if you will, Tapology.com does not in any way, shape, or form support, sponsor, or endorse the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, they do let you go onto their site, make free accounts, and do fantasy-style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups. So we made one. We call it I'm No Bookie, all one word, or Group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are welcomed and encouraged. Make yourself an account, join the group, and let us know who you are so we can hold your picks accountable with our picks in a segment that we call Tapology with TJ.
Well, let's hop right into this. I'm back after a little hiatus there. Unfortunately, I wasn't here last week to talk about how well I did the previous week because, I decided to blow my shoulder and elbow up fucking playing golf because, it's what fucking old men do, apparently. So, since that happened, I had to take a week off this week. When I say I took a week off, I threw my picks in with 5 minutes left. Like, I was last minute in that shit. Like, it was like 4:55 just before the fucking prelim started, and I was just beep, 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 beep. Didn't even think about him. I just fucking threw him in. So in that case, I thought so little that I just whipped my dick out on the table right in front of the missus, grabbed the fucking plate, and just started beating it with it. She asked me what I was doing. She said apparently that's not heavy enough and handed me the rolling pin. So I decided to hit it with the rolling pin a couple of times. So that way I guaranteed myself a last place. And that's exactly what I managed to do this week. 7 to 12 correct. Still north of the 500 mark, so I'm not mad about it. But, on 5 minutes notice, not thinking about what the fuck I was doing, we'll take it. Besides, it doesn't matter because there was no Grand Prix going on. And I fucking aced the test on the Grand Prix, the last Prix that we had. So, it really doesn't fucking matter this week. This is a throwaway week. Gotta have that downtime. Now, to be fair, Christian had one hell of a fucking week. 11 to 12, 705 fucking points. He absolutely walked the walk and talked the talk this fucking week. And surprisingly enough, brother wasn't there his brother wasn't that far behind him, fucking sitting 9 at 12 with 600 points. I'm just saying, I don't know that there really is a turncoat in that fucking little family dynamic there. I'm just saying Vinny and Christian, they got some shit going on over there. But good on them. They both did well. Also, honorable mention, Donna seemed to pull her shit back together this last week, so good on her. Her 10 and 12 correct. Everybody else was somewhere in the middle, but, as a whole, the group, everyone north 500, so it's great. If you like free shit, I highly suggest you go over to Tapology and create a free account. We know you like free shit, otherwise you wouldn't be watching us, you cheap bastards. That is, unless you're a member of the Patreon, which is scrolling down below. And if that's the case and you're helping to donate so we can keep doing this every week, we greatly appreciate it. In the meantime, though, come join Tapology. It's free. Group 965, no bookie, however you want to find us. Let us know who you are. We'll pat you on the back when you do well. We'll tell you when you trip over your beef curtains or smash your dick. It doesn't matter. It's all in good fun. And, it's just bragging rights. There's no money involved. But I mean, if you want a side bet on it, feel free to ping one of us. Some of us will gladly take you up on that offer. Just have to make sure you put your picks in early and do your fucking homework if you're going to do any sort of betting. Oh, with that, that's a good segue into the next fucking area here, which is going over and talking about the odds this week. Do you know how we know it is a shit week of a card? There is a ton of wide odds on the card, which tells you that these are all contractual obligation fights. Here, why don't you fight this guy? Here, why don't you fight this guy? Vegas odds are going fucking crazy, going, what the fuck is this nonsense? We're going to go a little old school here. We're going to go back to BetMGM. It's been a while since I've fucked with BetMGM. But we did find some stuff for BetMGM here. So we're going to run with BetMGM this week. Now, we'll start with some of the, I'll say, fairly wide odds, because there's some pretty wide odds on this card as a whole. And so we'll start in the like 200, 300s category, just so that way everybody kind of knows where we're at. John Matsumoto. Miles John coming in as a plus 240 underdog. And over a Matsumoto being a minus 300 favorite. Not a super wide odd, but it's wide enough to at least let you possibly think about throwing a bet on it. Now, one we talked about earlier, somebody being a trash fighter. In Jocelyn Edwards and Priscilla Cachuera. Cachuera, I said it. Can. Plus 300 underdog. Even bigger can, in my opinion. Jocelyn Edwards is a minus 375 favorite. Still don't know how the fuck that's possible that those wides are that odd when they're both dented soup cans beating the hell out of each other for who's going to sell for a dime and who's going to sell for a nickel. It's gas wars all over again. Now, another one into this 2-300s area here. We're going to look at next one on my list, which is going to be Gabriela Fernandez and Julia Stolyarenko. Stolyarenko coming in as a plus 350 underdog. Like I said earlier, she is an absolute dumpster fire. There's a reason why she's that big of an underdog. And Gabriela Fernandez a minus 450. They're giving somebody who's relatively young into their fucking MMA career a minus 450 favorite over Stolyarenko, who's been around a while and just can't get her shit together. Now, let's play the match game. With the exact same odds, Gilbert, Urbina, Eros Medici. We got Gilbert coming in as a plus 350 underdog. He must be the male variety of the Julia Stolarenko. And Euros is obviously the Gabriela Fernandez in this case at the minus 450 favorite. Exact same odds. Kind of funny to see there, right? Oh, let's move on to some even wider odds here. We're going to hop over to, unfortunately, Christopher Leroy Duncan and Eric Anders, both of which who I am not fans of. But to be fair and credit where credit is due, the odds makers, I think, do have this one right. Unfortunately, their odds are way too wide. They should both be plus numbers, but hey. Got Eric Anders coming in as a plus 400 underdog, and Christopher Leroy Duncan somehow is a minus 550 favorite, which is absolutely crazy because, to be honest, I really don't think he's fucking that great. I'm not a Vegas bookie, so there is that to be said. Next one we're gonna hop onto here is going to be the Julius Walker and Rafael Sequeira. Got Sequeira coming in as a plus 475 underdog and a minus 650 favorite in Julius Walker. So you Missouri boys, there you go. You got a favorite to bet on. Go ahead and bet on them, but you got to spend a lot of money to make $100, so it ain't worth it. Oh, next one here, fight we all touched on at one point tonight: Odi Osborne and Steve Erceg. Odi Osborne coming in as a plus 425 underdog, and Steve Erceg as a minus 600. We all said it earlier. I'm still kind of on the fence with Erceg, where I think it may have just been a little too much, a little too soon. But they're giving him the minus 600 favorite over Odi Osborne in a plus 425 underdog. So I really think the odds are correct on that. But there's also a small part of me that goes, maybe go put $100 on Odi Osborne, and because it just seems like there's something there. And I don't want there to be. I want to be very clear about that. I like Steve Erceg 100 times more than fucking Odi Osborne. So just putting that out there into the world. Take it or leave it, whatever you like. Now, for the widest odds on the card, that honor goes to Elijah Smith and Toshiomi Kazama. They have Kazama coming in as a plus 525 underdog. Elijah Smith, a minus 750 favorite. They've got a youngin coming in with that wide odds. Last time we seen somebody with that wide odds early in their career, it didn't pan out too well for them about 3 or 4 fights in. I just want to put it out there. So know that we got to take that with a grain of salt. But that is the widest odds on the card. And then, as per usual, I'll jump up and we'll do those of you who aren't paying attention, the co-main with air quotes in the main event. The co-main in Angela Hill and Yasmin Lucindo, they had pretty close to a coin flip. Angela Hill coming in as a plus 150 underdog. Yasmin Lucindo coming in as a minus 185 favorite. Look, they give the old lady wannabe Donald Cowboy Cerrone-esque way too much fucking credit here. I don't think she's got it in her, but she does have the gas tank for it, and that may be where they're giving her the close to coin flip odds. but not surprising. Now, to turn this around on somebody else, to prove our point earlier, in the main event, Anthony Hernandez and Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze coming in as a plus 240 underdog, with Anthony Hernandez a minus 300 favorite. Now, I want to be very clear. This is on BetMGM. I've looked at other places that are going almost as far as a minus 400 favorite to Anthony Hernandez on this. I'm not saying we're right or we're wrong, but I'm just saying there are some things that are adding up here that some other people might not be seeing, but we'll all see come Saturday. Now, make this very clear. Just because I'm giving you odds and telling you what Vegas thinks doesn't mean I'm a bookie. I'm not telling you to bet. If you do bet, do it responsibly. If you have a gambling problem, you know all those gambling hotline ads that are fucking out there. I'm not going to read all that shit off to you. But I take no part in any of your betting, win, lose, or draw. Now, if you win like $10 million and you're like, hey, this is partially his and you want to sling me a bone, just go subscribe to the Patreon. Just fucking sling the bones to the Patreon. Because, I'm not saying I do this for free, but I do this for free. Be nice to catch a paycheck one of these fucking years. So if you want to be one of those guys in the Patreon and just slings us a good bit, feel free. I'm not going to be mad about it, but I don't want it directly. Let it come to the team. We all deserve it at this point. That's all we got this week. We'll be back next week, because there is a pay-per-view next week. So we'll actually have something fun to talk about. Well, fun-ish.
Thank you very much, sir. Always appreciated. Well, with that being said, that will do it for this particular episode here. If you like the shenanigans that we get up to around here like this, please make sure you are subscribed and your notifications are turned on. Thumbs up are appreciated wherever you are catching this, because we try and do these shows pretty much every weekend when there are fights to talk about. We go live Thursday nights, 9-ish Central Standard Time, over on youtube.com/@I'mNoJoe, and now also on twitch.tv/I'mNoJoe as well. If you miss us live, the replays stay up on both platforms as long as Twitch will keep it up. If you miss us live or the replay live on purpose, I understand. We also own mirrors for that exact reason. The week after we go live, we put the all audio version up over at anchor.fm/I'mNoJoe. You can go there and pick it up to your podcast consumption platform of choice, Google, Apple, Spotify, whatever. It's all there. It's all free just the same. If you really like what we get up to around here and you want to help the shenanigans stay floating, patreon.com/I'mNoJoe is the best way to do it. For as little as $1 a month, as much as you are comfortable giving. Every little bit helps us do what we do around here. And in exchange for your patronage at any level, first and foremost, we put your name at the end of every broadcast so that everyone watching this knows how fucking awesome you are. And we appreciate you for helping us do what we do. On top of that, any level as well will also get you unfettered and unrestricted access to the behind the scenes, unaired, and literally unairable content, the things that got us kicked off of OnlyFans as a platform, because fuck them. That being said, on the other hand, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast you didn't enjoy? Give it a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That being said, when we wrap things up here around here Thursday night, that is not the end of the fun, because Friday, most Fridays, this gentleman, wait, where is he? He's over there. This gentleman over here and his other half will drop their podcast, the Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, over on Spreaker.com. Links to their podcast, their social medias, and their very own channel over on the I'm No Joe Discord server, all in the description, whether you're watching or listening to this live. And since he has passed on to the sleepy realm, that also means that after Friday, that is not the end of the fun, because when the week wraps back around, Wednesday nights here on YouTube as well, over on the Golf T Vapes YouTube channel, 8:39 p.m.-ish Central Standard Time, you can catch us all over on the Foggy Fairway. We teach you how to make bathtub e-liquid. We talk a little bit of advocacy. We talk a little shit. Sometimes we just sit around and have fun, but it's always a good time. Links down below in the description, whether you are watching or listening to this.
Thank you, sir. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's 7 days between Thursday and Thursday, which means there's a lot of time to figure out what the fuck you're going to do with your life and your extra time. Since you have some extra time, if you go down below, Linktree/the meter does many things, or Linktree/I'm no Joe, that'll take you to each and every one of the many things that the meter does do and fill in those time gaps. It's not all just kicky punchies in our realms. There's lots of other things going on. Go click, spend some time, and I know there's constant new content coming out. Not like my channel where I'm kind of hit or miss lately because it's summertime and, well, I like to do other summer activities that take up my time. But, in the meantime, go check with Meters. He's got all kinds of shit coming and going all the time, so it's worth your time.
Thank you, sir. Absolutely. If you are in for a bit of the devil's lettuce, as I am, definitely go check out the main channel. We've got all sorts of shenaniganry over there. And if the gods permit it, maybe even another live tomorrow. We'll see how that turns out. But that being said, that is all we have got for this particular episode. So again, thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, boys and girls, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what